I think I really have to change that introduction on YouTube. On TikTok, I mean. Okay, I'm going to do some sharing here, so just hang on. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Just sharing it out on TikTok here, so just give me 1 minute. Almost done. And that's it. There. Everybody share it out too. Hello, hello. How are you? Stick around, hang out. Okay. I don't even know what that means. But if you're into eating people, you're probably on the wrong channel because that's not here. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Good morning. So I'm just going to wait a little bit for some of my regulars to show up. I was definitely late this morning. I normally go live, between 10:30 and 11, and today it's noon, but there's reasons for that, and it's all fine and well. Here we are. And I am thinking about looking at what would be the best time to start the lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm thinking about doing it at a later time in the day, like in the early evening or after supper, something like that. But we'll see. We'll see what changes happen there. Hello, my love. See, you wait long enough and awesome people show up. I have some nice hot, steaming hot tea now, which is good. Good morning. Good morning. Alrighty, so I am going to give it a few more minutes and then we can get started. Today we're going to be talking about the Crystalline Heart. So it's going to be an awesome session. And it's, yeah. Hi, Mindy. Hello, how are you? All right. How are you, Mindy? Just waiting for a couple of people to show up. We might just do a shorter live today. I know normally I have a whole live that was scheduled, but because of the way that the time ended up going and stuff, it ended up being a later thing. So maybe what I'll do is I'll record the content from the live that I was planning, and I'll just put it up on the YouTube channel. And if it's a little bit shorter, I can put it up on the other channel as well. But we'll just do a shorter live today instead. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens as I'll just give it a little bit for some of the regulars to show up. But knowing that I did wait a little bit later to get started today, so possible that my regulars are hanging out with other people. Hi, Life Coach Brian. How are things going for you, Brian? How are things going in your business? Are you doing well? I hope so. I'm hoping that we're starting to see more of a change in stuff, but so we're starting to see some changes. How are you, Gary? It's really hot tea. I'd be a fool to take a sip out of it. I would be looking for nothing but a mouth burn there for sure. So yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the Crystalline Heart. Plane's really loud. The plane is really loud. The plane, boss, the plane. Marichi, buenos dias. Buenos dias. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? How is it today in Costa Rica? I wish I was back. Definitely. Mm-hmm. She's really hot tea, guys. Really hot tea. That's just a scald waiting to happen. Okay, so I'm not going to wait for people to show up. I'm just going to start it. And for those that didn't show up on time, then you just have to wait and, just get it on the recording. I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to come back for a visit. Maybe not to, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm definitely going to come for a visit at some point. It's beautiful. So today we're going to be talking about the crystalline heart and the heart as a compass, right? So in a world that is constantly pulling us outward towards comparison, towards reaction and distraction, today we come to the inner compass, right? The crystalline heart. This is a new moon in Gemini in tropical astrology, but if we were looking at true sidereal, then the new moon would actually be in Taurus today. So most of my content structured around that, but I decided to look at this through the new moon in Gemini. It offers us not simply a mental reset, but a quantum still point. It gives this beautiful pause, a place to listen and a space to let the truth rise, not from logic, but from resonance. Right. And that's what we're doing here is we're remembering, and when we remember the truth and we start to embody the truth, that is the whole process of awakening. And that is the whole process of rebuilding the new earth, which we all do simultaneously by our embodiment of the truth, right? The truth of the truth. So the crystalline heart is not soft in the way that the world defines it. It's clear, it's precise, it's devoted to your alignment. And so when I'm talking about the crystalline heart, I'm talking about your heart, but being connected to yourself in such a way that you are embodying exactly who you are, what you are, and what are you here to do? What is it that moves you forward? What is your mission, your purpose, your passion? It really connects to that. And not from the egoic space of it either, right? This is, everything is looked at through, what is the best for everybody and everything, right? I wouldn't do something as a mission that would destroy the earth, right? I wouldn't go and steal and ravage resources until, they were run. I wouldn't do stuff like that to the earth. Right. So that's the kind of embodiment that we get to when we start embodying the full of it. Right. So this is a space for us to resonate with that. When we're activated, it dissolves distortion, it reveals the next step, and it anchors you into timelines of embodied truth. Right. The more that you're embodying the truth, the more that you're on a timeline that is going to be in your best interest, in your highest timeline. We have the free will to make any choice that we want in life, and we can choose at any moment a decision that's going to either bring us more into alignment or that is going to bring us out of alignment. And, it's navigating that when you devote yourself to just being in alignment. I'm going to do what is right for me. I'm going to listen to my inner guidance system. I'm going to listen to my discernment. I'm going to make that decision based on that. What resounds within my body? What rings true for me, right? What resonates, or what do I feel in my knowing or in my intuition, in my alignment with this particular thing? And that's just how you navigate through your life, how you move through and how you live, right? Is through those pieces. Okay. So this is, today we're going to step out of that noise. There's a hair that was itching me. Had to get that. So today we're going to step out of the noise and we're going to listen deeper and we're going to recalibrate. So today I want to do a little bit of breath work with you. So we're going to start with that. Typically in my lives, I do a little bit of talking and education, and then I do a practical tool of some sort, whether it's breath work, meditation, somatic experiencing, tapping, it's something. And then then I do some more teaching, and then I do another activation, and then I do some more teaching and some activation. So that's how we process through the live. So there's lots of little activities that we do within it. I'm broadcasting on 2, so I have YouTube up on the top and TikTok down here. So if you're seeing me looking up and down, it's because of that. Although that's all fine. It's no big deal. Alrighty. So we're going to do some breathing. We're going to do some breath work to drop us into our hearts. Okay. So we're going to sit comfortably. I'm seated cross-legged on the ground, like on the floor. I have a couple of actual blankets that are folded to give a little bit of softness, but I'm seated on the floor cross-legged. If you're seated in a chair, that's fine. Right. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our hands and we're going to put one on our heart and one on our belly. Right. And it can be on the lower belly. It can, so you're holding what we would consider it to be the womb space, but it's also known as the hara. So you're just going to put it on that space. So your heart and your lower belly. Now, what we're going to do in this breathing that we're going to do is we're going to inhale through the nose for a count of 5, and we're going to exhale audibly through the mouth for 6. Okay. So you're just going to be, it's not when we're exhaling. I'll show you. And we're going to do this for 3 to 5 inhales. Okay. And then I'll give you some other guidance along the way as you're doing the breathing, if you're in a space where you can do that. Okay. So inhale through the nose for a count of 5. Exhale through the mouth audibly for 6. Inhale through the mouth for 5. Through the nose, sorry. Inhale through the nose for 5. Exhale through the mouth audibly for 6. Okay, that was round 2. All right, you keep doing that breathing. Just exhale audibly. You don't have to make the same sound that I am, but you're exhaling audibly. All right, with each inhale, I want you to visualize crystalline light entering through your heart space. And with each exhale, I want you to see yourself releasing static and judgment and urgency and scarcity, all of those lower vibrational energies. So in with this beautiful light and coming in through the heart space, and out with all of the static and urgency and anything that's not in alignment. Okay. So as we bring in that breath in, bringing all that beautiful light in, and then as we exhale, releasing all that stagnant energy. And then inhale, beautiful light, exhale, stale, stagnant energy. Okay. Now, as you continue to do that, I want you to feel that pulse, that heart, right? That heart, that beating in your chest. Okay. Sense that rhythm within your body. Okay. So inhale light through the heart space. Exhale anything that's not serving you. right? And now we're just going to speak. I return to my center. I allow the truth to rise, and I trust the wisdom of my heart. Hi, guys. You just missed the beginning breath work. All right, so the core teaching, we're talking today about the crystalline heart and about being in alignment, but let's talk about that. So heart versus mind and reclaiming your inner authority. Okay, it's important stuff. So to live in a heart-centered world, obsessed with intellect is a revolutionary act. Like every single one of us that dares to live from the heart space versus living through the mind and the logic center, we're rebels. We're rebels. And I think that's kind of silly. I think it's kind of silly that we're considered to be rebels when we should be. This is the way that we should be. Right? This is the way that we should be living in our lives. We need to connect to our heart space. And I've talked before about how the heart space is where the divine feminine energy is sitting at right now, and collectively the divine masculine is in the ego center, but the divine feminine is in the heart space. And this is not gender specific, because every single one of us has masculine and feminine energy in it. The energy is how we move, how we or what we're doing. It depends at that point. So if I'm doing something nurturing, I'm in my feminine energy, and if a man is nurturing a baby, he's also in his feminine energy. If I'm doing something that is a provision type of thing, then in that provision space, I'm more than likely operating in my masculine energy. Same thing for a man when he's out there going and trying to create a legacy, then he's out there hustling, grinding, or whatever. Not that I would ever suggest that anyone be hustle and grind. So the whole point of getting connected to our heart is so that we're moving from our heart space, and when we're in embodiment, when we're in alignment, and we're embodying our truth, and we're embodying the truth of life, right? We're doing the things that are right as best as we can. And it's always as best as we can. Now, we came down here, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So we're not meant to completely reject the physical and just be focused completely on our spirit. We're meant to treat our body as a temple. It's the earthly portion of us, whereas our spirit is the heavenly portion, and the merging of the two is heaven on earth. And that's what we're meant to do. And so when we're looking at this, we are looking at connecting that heart to everything. Hello, love. Right? And making change and decisions and directing ourselves and operating through our heart space when we're doing stuff. TT, that might be a good cue for me to have a tea. You know what? I set up goals. I don't know why oh, never mind. They're there. That was weird. Okay, I don't know. I'm just doing it because it's there. Because it's there. Look at three thumbs up. 3 1-cent thumbs up. Sorry, guys, on YouTube. This is a TikTok thing. All right. A flash goal. Can we get 3 1-penny gifts? Can we get 3 1-penny gifts on my live in 15 minutes? Right? And I think it's ridiculous. I'm going to tell you guys, I absolutely think it's ridiculous that there are people out there that are sleeping or doing whatever. And you have people out there that are putting forward valuable content, that are doing activations and meditations and teaching you things like powerful, powerful things. And it's crickets on their lives. But you go to other people's channels and literally sleeping, getting paid big gifts. And it's absolutely, I can understand why people get disillusioned about being a content creator who's bringing stuff like I am on here, right? Because I'm activating you, I'm educating you, I'm helping you on your path of ascension, right? And and it's one of those things where I literally have to beg for money. How pathetic is that I have to beg for money when I'm doing such powerful work? And meanwhile, other people that are doing nothing, right? Some person who is trying, I don't even know. They were, for a while, remember they had those people where they were doing the gift thingy, and in the gift thing, they were they'd give them a sucker and they'd go, yum. And they were just doing all of that. Remember when people were like just doling gifts to them and they were like pretending they were AI or whatever? Just, yeah, it's an upside down world we live in. It's definitely inverted. People would rather pay for somebody to entertain them than they would rather pay for somebody to help them heal, help them remember their truth, help them ascend their spirit. But they would rather pay for entertainment than to pay for true soul work. That's what these are constructed to do anyway, right? Hi, Craig. How are you, love? And yeah, they were just doing AI, right? They were pretending to be AI. And it's like, okay, so like, and people were just doling gifts like crazy on them, right? And it's just, it's crazy. I know, like, I know what I bring to the table, and it's just, it's kind of crazy. Like I said, the other day I did a show on TikTok, and I literally got 1 penny for the whole show. In the live, the one girl was like, her head was tingling, and like she was experiencing like the symptoms because I activated her in the live, through the core teachings and the practical stuff that I was doing. I walked away from that live with 1 penny, which that was it. And TikTok, well, you can't give half a penny, like by the time TikTok takes their cut. And I was just like, like, this is where truly is an inverted world. Hi, Kamala. How are you, love? Right. It is an inverted world. Okay. So to live in a heart-led world to live in a world where we are operating from our heart space, in a world right now that is so mind controlled, like it's all mental right now. It's very much about the logic, and like we've been driven away from the spiritual and what we truly are. So when we go back to living in a heart-centered way, that is radical, completely radical to society, that we would choose to live in that way. Right. So it's incredible that we're so inverted, right? Like with everything. So from early on in life, many of us were conditioned to rely on our logic, on performance, and on external approval, right? How many of our things out there right now is, it's all external, right? I need to have more likes. I need to have, even the system that we're in right now, right? Like the likes matter, right? On TikTok, sorry, on for those of you that are on YouTube, some of this stuff doesn't even matter. But on TikTok, and it does matter on YouTube to a certain degree, don't get me wrong, like for the people that are in the live, that are watching the live, for them to like it, it's important, because then it pushes it on the algorithm, right? So when somebody is commenting in your live, that pushes it on the algorithm. So it does all of these things. So it does matter. But within this world that we're in right now, it's a popularity contest, right? Like that's really what it is, because we've been pushed to look outside of ourselves to find everything, right? And it's been so pushed, and many of us don't even realize when we are connecting to a false light or to a true light, and we'll get ourselves looped in and connected with people in ways like that we can't even imagine, right? This whole matrix that we're in is meant to keep you trapped, right? And so you want to be finding the people that are helping you to find the way out, that are showing you the way out, and follow them and discern for yourself, right? I'm going to teach you discernment as well, like always about discernment. Hello, Salasia. How are you? So today we're just talking about the crystalline heart. I'm just at the point where we're going to start the core teachings, or we've started the core teachings. Yeah, you missed out on the little bit of the intro and the one breathwork session, but that's okay. All righty. The voice of the heart, though, like the voice of the heart, rather than the logic, the voice of the heart, it's quiet, it's intuitive, it's non-linear. Like it's not looking at moment to moment to moment to moment. When we're in our brain, we're looking at time, and we're looking at Like we're looking at those number things in a different way, right? We're not looking at being in a flow. We're looking at, usually there's outcomes that we're looking at, right? Whereas when we're within our heart space, we're just in flow. And it's not that we don't want to have structure, because you do need structure, right? Like for me, structure would be on my live, setting up my live and starting my live at 10:30 promptly, let's say. But my flow gets in the way. So then, I end up showing up at 11 or 12. And today it was 12, but there was other reasons for that. For some reason, I'm having significant issues with my phone is having some issues. So that was part of it. And then just other stuff. They were cutting the grass. And so it was a lot of noise around. So anyway, here we are. We're late. But so there should be some structure, but there also has to be room for flow. And the heart allows us to be in that flow state. The heart, when we are connected to our center, when we are in alignment and embodiment, then we're going to be able to discern things very easily for ourselves of what actually is in alignment, what is good, what is not good. We're going to interact with something and we're going to feel that energy come in, and we're going to be like, yep, that's not for me. I'm not going to do that anymore. That was an experience for me to say there's a boundary that I need to have. Right. Which is really powerful. Okay. So, sorry, just reading a comment. Yeah. All right. So the voice of the heart it's quiet, it's nonlinear, it's intuitive. It was often minimized, questioned, or ignored, right? There's so many of us that have that inner knowing or even our intuition, but because we were taught very early on in life, if you can't touch it, taste it, feel it, like if it isn't with your five senses, then it's not real. Or if you can't duplicate it in a lab, it doesn't exist. And should know by now how much science has changed over the years. And the reason why it changes is because the measurement tools that they have change. So instead of, like you think about how much finer detection they have now, or when they find a new way to detect something, that whole new process opens up an entirely new avenue of knowledge. So to me, it's just science hasn't caught up to spirituality is all that it is, because they don't have the tools to test it, right? They don't have the tools to detect it, but there's a knowing that's there. So when you have that knowing, do you listen to it or do you ignore it? Right. And we were taught to ignore it. Right. And that's just the way that it is. So the crystalline heart is not just emotional, right? It's multidimensional. It's a transmitter. It's attuned to the frequency of truth, and it's capable of discerning alignment with precision beyond reasoning. So where the mind analyzes, the heart harmonizes. So that's the difference that you get between those. Is the one is harmonizing, whereas the other is analyzing, right? And we want to be harmonizing. We don't want to be analyzing and trying to figure it out and which way. We just want to just move in the direction, because our heart is propelling us like almost like a motor that's just driving you in the direction that you're meant to go. So the mind fears things, right? But the heart just remembers. There's no fear there. It's a knowing. It's a peace. It's just you're in a very aligned space, right? So the distortion field was rooted in survival and manipulation, and it has trained minds to seek validation, to prioritize predictability over presence, and control over trust, right? So we're looking outside of ourselves for all of the things, right? We're taught that the government, is going to protect us, or we're taught that, the school is going to educate us, or we're taught that, somebody, is out there is going to save us in some way. There's all the programming throughout all of the education throughout, all of society that is inverted to keep us trapped in those spaces, right? So, and there's a reason for it, because when the mind is leading us, we spiral. We spiral in endless rumination. We spiral in self-doubt. We are disconnected from the body, and we're in reactivity-based programming, because we're programming based off of fear, right? Fear and lack and, not good enough. And, that all of that stuff weighs in on how we are perceived, or how we end up becoming more reactive, right? In that, when the heart leads, we anchor that calm confidence. We can discern, and we can do so without explanation, right? We know it's not for me. I don't need to explain to you why it's not for me. I just know that it's not, and that's all I need to know. But there's a coherence that occurs between your thoughts, your actions, and your energy, right? So it's this powerful alignment that is not just felt, it's resonated throughout your entire field. So it is impacting your field. It's resonating. Your heart is a huge magnet, right? You end up with this alignment with the timelines and the people that nourish that truth, right? Instead of being aligned with people that are nourishing the fake or the false, right? If you're not being your full self, then you're aligning yourself with mirrors of fakeness. So you being false to you means that other people are as well, or there's a likelihood that they're being false to themselves either. They're not even being their true selves that are interacting in your circles. So the crystalline heart knows the way. It just speaks more quietly. It won't scream over the noise, but it will pulse in stillness. It expands in clarity, and it will dissolve what no longer resonates, right? I'll just pause for a second because this is hot and it's lovely. And so I have a little practice for you, and this will help you with this discernment or resonating, like looking at what's resonating, right? So pause before you decide on anything. Just pause and take that moment to feel, right? Feel into your body before answering, right? And ask, does this resonate with me or just make sense? And notice where your body contracts or expands, right? So if you're feeling into your body and you're asking your body, what in this situation resonates with me? What in this, does it just make sense what they're saying? Does this really just make sense to me? And if you feel yourself tighten up, then there's something that's off about the information. If your body expands, or your body feels peace, or it feels like in that alignment, feels very grounded and stable, then that to you is a sign of an alignment. It's not going to be scary. It's not going to be nerve-wracking. That's showing you that in that moment, that's not an alignment for you. So always pause before deciding, feel before answering, ask if it resonates or if it makes sense, depending on what kind of questioning it is. And then notice in your body where it either resonates or where it is contracting, like whether it's expanding or contracting within your body. Right? So then you can be reclaiming your inner authority by letting your heart's resonance lead and letting the mind return to its rightful place, because it is not the master. The mind is the servant to the heart, right? The heart's the one that's supposed to run the show. The mind is there for other purposes, but not to be the boss. That's for darn sure. You are not meant to argue with your alignment. You're meant to just embody it. Your brain is the arguing factor, right? Your brain's the one that's going to be like, should we do that or shouldn't we do that? Or, what is the truth, or what is that? Like, I don't know, maybe, da, 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 da. And you just get in that ruminating or that spiraling space, right? So the mind, like, it can be this magnificent tool, but it was never designed to lead. When the mind runs the show, we spiral in that over-analysis, that hesitation, and fear-based loops. So the heart, on the other hand, speaks in frequency, and it offers clarity without justification, and it pulses with knowing. It reveals through resonance, right? So allow yourself to resonate. Okay. So today's distortion field is built to override the heart through the constant mental stimulation, right? How many of us are interacting with a device at some point in time, like consistently? Divine Rising, sweetie. Where we are constantly being overstimulated. How many of us take a complete break from interacting with anything and just go sit outside? Not to sit outside and be on your phone, or not to be sitting outside doing something, anything, reading a book, even, like just to be outside and interact with nature and be quiet. How many of us spend time in our homes just being at peace without having to do something to occupy our brain? And I'm talking from a space of like, I do a lot every day that is very active in the mind, right? So I have to take moments of silence and stillness and not engaging with the electronics, right? I need to take that time back from that. So when we reconnect, right? When we reconnect with that, sorry, I was talking about distortion fields. I'm like, where the heck was I in this whole conversation? distortion fields, right? That constant mental stimulation, the false urgency, right? There's a lot of urgency. You have to have it yesterday. They shorten our attention span. So there's little 7-second, like little blips of moments of capturing your attention, right? Like you have to be very quick to capture people's attention now because their attention is being so captured and shortened in all of the ways that we're being controlled, or the way that the information is being distributed to us. It's crazy what they're doing. And we're also rewarded for conformity, right? Look at that. Like what happened during 2020, right? With everything that happened, everybody was rewarded for conformity. We were rewarded so much in Alberta. They actually gave people $100 to go in and get it. Like that's how rewarded we were. We got paid. We got paid to do it. That's what we got rewarded with our compliance, with our, like with being in that conformity with everybody else. Right? How crazy is that? Right? So, but you're not designed to follow the noise. Many of us with ADHD or that are on the spectrum, we are the way showers. We express things or experience things differently because we are supposed to. We're not supposed to be that, in the box life. It's really the box life. That's what I think of the Matrix. That's the very box square life, right? You get up and you get up and you go to your job and you come home and, you just keep going in that circle. You live in your square house and you have your, like you stay inside most of the time and you're staring at a square screen and you're like, everything is just a square. And squares, there's a reason, like shapes matter. Right? The shapes that we're exposing ourselves to. Get outside where there's very, very few squares, right? Where do you see squares in nature? Like absolute perfect squares in nature, right? So think about that. Get outside where there's more free flowing shapes and stuff like that. A little bit off of that topic, but nonetheless, you weren't designed to follow the noise. You were designed to transmit the truth. And when we reconnect with that beautiful crystalline heart, we access instant discernment. Hi, Alan Dunn. Nice to see you. Our nervous system regulates. We also become immune to manipulation, right? Because you're so in tune with the energy around you that people can't lie to you. Like you're a walking lie detector. And we also align with timelines that mirror our soul's truth. The crystalline heart is a multidimensional organ of perception and direction. It's not sentimental. It is sovereign, and it is time to let it lead. I'm not doing cards today. If I do cards, it's usually at the end of the session. I've been doing more education and activation and helping people on their ascension journey now, as opposed to just doing straight up tarot. Yeah. Just a change. We're all changing, right? We're all changing. That's good. That's good to have growth. All right, so we're going to do a practice. We're going to do our practice, and this practice is a crystalline heart alignment activation. So you can do this either standing or sitting. I'm going to have a sip of this before I get started. So if you're wanting to join this crystalline heart alignment activation, do so. All right. Ready? So we're going to stand or sit in sacred stillness. Okay, so we're just sitting in stillness. You're going to close your eyes. Okay, we're just beginning here in the sacred moment of stillness with your eyes closed. There's no information coming in through the eyes. You're in rest. Your body's in stillness. And you're just going to pay attention to my voice. Once you've sat in this moment of stillness, you're going to begin slow circular movements with the arms as this is gathering light. So you're going to bring them in. You're going to create this ball in front of you of energy, right? So you're just bringing it together, gathering up that light. And you're keeping your eyes closed, making that beautiful energetic ball in front of yourself, okay? So build up that ball, bringing in circles, bringing them together, okay? Now we're going to bring our hands into our chest with that light. Okay, and you're going to put both your hands over your chest and you're just going to breathe deeply. Allowing that beautiful light that you've gathered to expand through your body. Lighting up your heart chakra. And as you do that, visualize a beautiful lotus blooming in your heart center. It's beautiful crystalline lotus. Let it start to spin slowly. Then allow it to speed up just to the point where it feels right for you. Not spinning too fast or too slow. And as it's spinning, what it's doing is emanating clarity through your field. Okay, so we're just sending clarity through the field. And we're going to speak aloud. I call back all parts of myself scattered by noise. Oh, that's a good one to breathe in. I restore harmonic alignment to my heart field. And breathe that one in too. I choose truth over urgency, clarity over chaos. Breathe that one in. And just feel the resonance shift within the body. And let the activation complete. And there you go. You've activated your crystalline heart. You've brought some clarity into your day. And that was not that hard to do. Didn't take that long either. I think that you could make that a practice when you need to make it a practice. So I have some common questions that I have written down for this topic and the answers that go along with them. So these are some of the comments or some of the questions that come up around living from the crystalline heart. So how do I know if I'm living in my heart or in my mind? The heart feels very spacious. It's grounded. It's clear. When your mind is very urgent or noisy or circular, right? So it's that repetitive patterns or thinking over and over again and repeating the conversations in your head. That's the mind. That's living from the mind. As you begin to embody more and more of your truth and living from your heart center, the mind starts to quiet down and you start to feel that presence. And you can also check with your breath. Right? If it's heart-centered, it's going to feel calm and coherent. It's going to feel, you're going to feel present in the moment, very grounded energy. Whereas if you are in your mind, you may feel like your breath is more elevated, like it's more up in the heart space, right? So what if I doubt the guidance that I feel in my heart? And doubt is just a residual of the conditioning that we've experienced, right? So because we've experienced so many different things that have conditioned us in this way, it's normal that we would doubt ourselves. We were taught to literally look outside of ourselves for everything, to go ask somebody for advice, to go get some help from somebody else, that some savior was going to come and save us. There's all that programming to go look outside of yourself. And, so it's understandable that we would have that doubt there. Just honor it without obeying it, right? Just keep listening. The heart's language becomes louder and louder the more that you learn to trust it. So can you still make plans if you're living from the heart, right? Because I talked about how the heart is this very flow space. Absolutely, you can. The crystalline heart does not reject structure. It anchors structure in truth is all. So you won't find yourself doing things just because you have to do them. You're going to find you're doing things because it's integral to, say, part of your embodiment, let's say. So for me, because I am, I have a company and, I help people with their ascension. Because I do that, I have within my my day, I have things that I do because I work through it in an embodied state. I'm not teaching people to do things that I'm not doing myself, right? If I'm not embodying it, I have no business telling you to do it, right? So, when you're living from the heart, the more and more that you start living from it, you're going to start doing things from that space. And it's not, I have to, right? It's, I actually get to, and it's supportive of everything else that you're doing, right? So if you're somebody that's doing healing, you're going to be doing healing on yourself. Or, if you're working in the spiritual space, you're toning, or you're meditating, like you're actually embodying the truth of the message that you're sharing. So it's not a performative thing, right? You're doing it. It's just nourishing your soul. It's just in alignment with everything that you're doing. And so it's just very, very nourishing. So what if I feel numb or disconnected from my heart? That disconnection is a protective mechanism. It's usually adapted through the traumas that we experienced. Neglect specifically is one of the hardest ones to deal with. And then as well, when it would volley between abuse and neglect, that really created that disconnection, right? Because we didn't want to feel all the weight of what we were experiencing. We didn't want to feel all that pain from the trauma that, was being put on us, right? So we disconnected from that, and understandably so. So to connect back to it, it's just starting gently. You're just starting gently, using your breath, using touch, right? Some people, they can't put their hands on their heart space when they first begin. So you're putting your hands on your arms. Maybe you're learning like soothing techniques, like rubbing your arms in a downward fashion and how soothing that can feel. Or you're learning to breathe into your heart and, understanding how, the breath work works, or doing toning, and how, frequencies and sound, and how that can be used to disrupt energy, and especially stagnant energy. So it's really, really, connecting back to it and doing those things using breath, touch, and slowness to invite your awareness back into your body. Using somatic stuff as well is very powerful in that. I talk a lot about how yoga, especially like hip openers, how they're really handy within our healing process as well. So can my heart guide me when things feel chaotic around me? And yes, especially then. When you connect to your heart, it stabilizes your frequency regardless of the outside noise, because it's not reacting to that. It's sovereign. So when things go on around you, it's almost like watching a show. Now, if somebody was to come up to you, and this is the thing, right? If somebody came up to you and let's say, like you've done this healing journey, and someone came up to you and they like hauled off and just slapped you across the face, you're going to have a response to that. It's not going to change your self-worth. It's not going to change anything that you feel about towards yourself. It's not going to change, that part of you at your core. It's not going to change your mission, your purpose, any of that. It's going to create boundaries for you, because it might make you go and, file a police report. It might, you might respond by crying. You might respond by, raising your voice and being very assertive towards that person, that's uncalled for and not, and not okay. There's a response that's going to happen, but you're not going to be in that reactionary space because you're heart centered. And again, it's not going to unravel who you are because of outer conditions. You're going to always go back to that, and you're going to have the tools that you know because you're embodying it. So you're going to know about your breath. You're going to know about toning and frequency and sound and how important that is. You're going to know about, doing your breath work and connecting and quieting and silence and interacting with the elementals and, things like that. All right. So why does my heart feel heavy or closed at time is another question that I've received. A heavy heart often or just holds those unexpressed emotions, specifically grief and the hurts that we felt. Like a lot of anxiety and depression is stored within the chest space, whereas anger gets stored in the kidneys, right? So this energy is just within the chest wall. It's within the fascia, which is why I've talked before about doing rolling with a ball, right? Like pressure point stuff, because as you're applying, and this ball here, this little orb of tiger eye, it's a pretty small one, but you could use a ball as small as that, and you're just rolling it till you get somewhere within your tissue where you feel pain, and you just hold it there until the pain releases, breathing into that space. It's one way. Like I said, with the whole yoga, and there's other types of movement practices where you're moving your body and it's going to be disrupting the energy that's held within them. Rolling, you can roll foam rollers across your body and things like that. They can be really helpful for moving the energy that's underneath in the fascia. So there's lots of stuff that you can do with that. How can you, sorry, I'm looking for which question I left off on. So these are that's not a sign of failure, by the way. It's not, it's just an invitation for you to breathe into and be with what's been suppressed, right? When your heart feels heavy or closed, it's just an opportunity for you to connect with yourself and to transmute that energy that you've had stored in that space. So how can I strengthen my connection to my heart each day? Well, begin by touching your chest each morning and breathing into it. Speak your truth aloud. Let your heart set the tone for the day before you let your mind take over. So just what do I feel I should be doing this morning, as opposed to I'm just going to get up and move through the emotions in an automatic space, or jumping onto your phone and engaging in stuff that's going to be amping up your mind right away. So what if I feel torn between what my heart says and what others expect of me? And that's a challenge that many of us are experiencing, right? We're the rebels, or, the weirdos that want to go out and live in a certain, way that's not the way that society, is suggesting that we should at this point in time. So that can be really, really challenging, but this is that opportunity for you to walk through that sacred threshold and say, I choose resonance over approval, right? I choose to be aligned with me. And I know by being aligned with me that the people that are aligned with me will show up. But if I'm not in alignment with me, then I'm aligned with something external or something, that's not right for me. And that's just going to, take me on a path that I don't want to go on, right? If the life that you're walking through is like a tree and you could choose any branch, I want to choose the best branches for myself. I don't want to be headed down the branch that's going to just crack and break later on, right? I don't want to be going on a branch that loops me back around a few of the same experiences that I've already had. I want to take the best branches for me. So think of it in that way. And that's where being aligned helps you, because in being aligned, you are going to be connecting to those things that are taking you on the right path, on the highest path, right? The more that you live from that heart-centered space, the more that your field begins to resonate with that, right? The more that you start to attract the right relationships and the right opportunities, because it's just matching your truth. It's like sending out, like dinging a bell. That bell's going to ring so true and so clear. And that's what you become. You become a bell that's resonating your sound, your frequency out into the field. And that's bringing back what is in resonance with that, right? So What if I, let me see, did I get all the questions that I want? Yeah, that was it. So how do you, the more that you live, the more you are going to experience that. All right. So we've got one more activation that we're going to do. And this is just an invocation. So it's a very small practice. It's literally putting your hands over your heart, and you're going to just breathe into that space gently. This isn't taking in big, big, deep breaths. We're doing an invocation, not a full activation, not a meditation or anything like that. It's an invocation. So hands over your heart, breathe in and out. And we're just going to speak. I activate the crystalline codes within my heart. Okay, speak it. Speak it out loud if you can. All right. I dissolve distortion and anchor truth. Okay, so make sure you say that too. And then finally, I walk in harmony with my oversoul. So your oversoul is the name for your higher self, but it is the overarching you. And the reason why it's called oversoul is it's less hierarchical. Like higher implies that there's a hierarchy, and it's not. So now that we've said that invocation, you're just going to allow this light that's in the chest to radiate from the chest, circling around the body and breathing into the space and just letting the truth settle. So it's just seeing that beautiful golden circle, like almost like a donut of golden energy, where your heart is the center of the donut. Right? So you're just breathing into that. You've just said this powerful phrase, allow that beautiful golden light to resonate into your field, that you are now walking in harmony with your oversoul, that you're anchoring truth, that you are activating the crystalline codes within your heart. Okay. And just let that truth settle. So every episode or every live that I do, I create a journal that goes along with that particular live, and there's no exception today. So today there is the Crystalline Heart Journal. You can find that in the Temple of Light, which is my free group that's available on my website, Anshara'El.com, which is linked in my profile there. I have several membership groups there that would be exceptional for you guys to join, because there's definitely something for everybody. I have a variety of different ones, but the focus that I have is in embodiment. It is in ascension. It is walking the Christic path. And I don't mean that in a religious sense of the word. I mean that in the divine truth way. That's what we're meant to, the way that we're meant to live. So it's in revealing the truth and remembering who you are, what you are, why you came here, and how we're meant to live. That's what I teach now. I'm not necessarily opposed to doing oracle readings here and there. I do an oracle chamber membership group where I do my channelings in that particular group. But anyway, the Temple of Light is a free group. You can go to the website and you can get that Crystalline Heart journal page there. It's actually several pages. There's a mantra and an embodiment parts plus a seal. And then there's 5 pages because there's 5 journal prompts. But if you don't want to go there to get the journal, you just want to take what you can get from here, then I have 3 prompts for you from what we learned today on the Crystalline Heart. And one is, what does truth feel like in my body? What does it feel like? Right? Because once you get familiar with what does truth feel like in your body, then you're always going to know when it's the truth, right? 2, where have I overridden my heart in favor of logic? So where have you had this feeling or this knowing or this pull or push, like this drive into a specific direction that was, or something that was heart aligned, right? Maybe you wanted to be a famous artist and you gave that up because, you thought that you should become a doctor or a lawyer or such, right? As an example. And that's a pretty big one, but there might be smaller ones where you've overridden your heart in favor of logic at another time. And then what would I shift if I let my heart lead? That's the last question that you can get for there. Hi, Helen. Teet. So you can go to the website, join the free group. It's absolutely free. I put activations in there. I put journal prompts. I put journals that are companion journals for the lives that I do. There's a ton of stuff, and it's a free group. So you really can't afford not to, because it's free. But there are groups there that are paid groups. I have the Ascension, Gateway, Guardian Pathway, and Christic Mastery Circle, and those are tiered groups. So as you go to the higher group, you keep access to the 2 lower groups. Like when you're Christic Mastery Circle, you have access to all 3. When you're in the Guardian, you have access to the bottom 2, and when you're in the Ascension, you just have access to that. That's the entry one. And these are things that are helping you to be a grid worker, a light worker, to, you know, ascend, to embody who you're meant to be and what you're meant to be, and, you know, a lot of truths in there. You get early access to the Truth Will Set You Free podcast. You get access to special teachings that are there. There's also journals that get in there, as well as activations, meditations. Like, there's a ton of stuff. I do lives in the Guardian Pathway once a month, and I do a live in the Christic Mastery Circle once a month, and I drop like big teachings within there as well. And you get the early access or discounts to other things. There's the Oracle Chamber. That is I do drops in that on new moons and full moons. Same with the Still Waters Temple. So I have a variety of different groups for a variety of different reasons. You can go check out the website and see all of those things. Some of the offers that I have right now that are really, really cool is I have this one offer that I'm doing that's a donation basis, and it's $33 Canadian for this offer, and it's a soul note. So what I do is I channel your Oversoul and I channel your guides, and I write a letter from your Oversoul to you, and I send that to you in an email. Or if we're connected on social media, I can send it to you through social media as well. Like specifically, like I've sent it to people on Facebook before. So if you're curious about what your higher self has as a message for you, it's a beautiful opportunity to get that. I also have a voice note oracle message, and that's a longer one, and that's where I give you a message, and it's about 7 to 10 minutes in length. This message that I read for you. And so I go into more depth, and I will answer some questions within that voice note, and ask your Oversoul for specific guidance in a direction of some questioning that you want. And same thing with any guides and stuff. So you get just more information in that. That's available for $44 as a donation. So there's a bunch of things there. If you're looking to, you know, really step into who you are and really activate yourself, there's a lot of sessions in my soul alignments that would be valuable for you to check out. And if you're on here and you're like a leader and you're ready to, you know, to light it up, I have a Christic nervous system upgrade that I do. So I actually upgrade your nervous system. And I also have a Christic I have a whole healing thing that I've channeled. So a completely new healing modality that I've channeled. There's lots of stuff going on there. There's also the Bridge to Light course that's there. This is a standalone self-study, self-paced, but I give you one live session per month within that group, where I check in on everybody. So even if, you know, if you're doing it as self-paced, you're never without having like some touch points where you can ask some questions around the material, or, you know, or if you're struggling with something where you can get some additional support. So there's that within the Bridge to Light, but this is a full healing program that is moving you from your traumas into that level of sovereignty and into embodiment. So there's all of that there and so much more. Go check it out. My books are linked on there as well. I have about 15 books that are published. Not all of them are on my website, but there are some. There is a book on there called The Divergence Code, which is a book that I wrote for those of us that have ADHD and are considered to be neurodivergent. And it gives you the truth about it. It has practical activities. Each chapter has practical activities that are supporting it. And it's $14.44 Canadian on the website with, you know, a whole workbook through it. So go check those things out. And if you have children and you're looking for books, I have some beautiful soul aligned or, you know, very spiritual books that I've written for children, but in that beautiful, isn't it beautiful? They're just beautiful. They're just beautiful. Anyway, that's it for me today. I love you guys, and we will see you on Thursday. On Thursday, we are going to be talking about devotion. So we're going from the heart into the space of devotion. The devotion code is what I think I called it. I think I called it the devotion code. I would say don't quote me if Yeah, the gate of devotion. That's what I call it. So on Thursday, we're going to do the gate of devotion. And there is a journal prompt or a companion journal that will go with that as well. But if you're looking for any services, come check me out. If you have any questions, on the soul alignment page, there is a clarity call that you can book, a free clarity call, or you can send me an email or send me a message on social media, and I'll let you know. I'll answer any of the questions that you have. But I got to jump off of here because I'm seeing a low battery sign on my laptop. So I love you guys. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. And I will do better to try to get on here on time on Thursday. Although I am thinking about changing the time when I go live altogether. But we'll deal with that when that comes. If you have any preferences for times for the lives, just let me know. All right. I love you. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you soon.